E-bikes can be a lot of fun, and they're something you want to take with you when you go on a trip, but they are pretty heavy. And if you want a rack that can handle the weight of these e-bikes, it's got to be designed specifically for them. So when Krabbit contacted me and said, hey, we've got a rack that'll handle 200 pounds and it's about half the cost of other racks, I said, hey, send it on over. I'll take a look and review it. This is their CyberRack E2 Plus, and it holds bikes up to 50 inches in wheelbase, 5-inch diameter tires, takes 2 bikes up to 200 pounds, as I mentioned. I'm going to take a look at all the way from unboxing this thing to taking it on a ride, so you can get an idea if this is a rack for you. Okay, this rack was just delivered last night, so I'm going to open it up and see what this bad boy looks like. I think they have 2 colors, a black and a bluish color, so I'm looking forward to seeing which one came. And then we'll see what it's like to assemble, or what it's made of, weigh it, and get it on the truck and try it out. Okay, we have black. That's nice. This here is the ramp. Plastic protection. I think we're ready to put this together. One little thing I didn't see in the instructions is this little rubber stopper, and it fits right on the end of this piece here, so snaps right in there. So I think if that hits the ground, or if your palm is against it, gives you a little cushion. A few things to consider when you're installing, which I didn't do exactly right the first time. One is these units right here, which are made to slide back and forth to hold the back wheel, were originally in the center location during shipping, and I didn't move them, and they got stuck between these 2 bolts. So before you tighten these bolts or put these bolts in, make sure that this is outboard of the center where it can be moved around. Second, you may need to tighten this little cam, and that is shown in the instructions, just so that it will lock down securely when you're ready to adjust it to your bike. Third, these little clamps pivot, and you want to make sure you do it in a way that the tab is pointed out. Otherwise, if you do it the opposite way, it will not lock, and you don't want it to come undone. So let's take a step back and look at this rack. It's, first of all, advertised to weigh 66.8 pounds, I think. I weighed it, and the rack itself weighs less than 59 pounds. So they're probably including the ramp that comes with it in that weight, but you really don't need to put the ramp on the rack when you're moving it. They do that by making it out of both aluminum and steel. So the structural members of this rack are all steel, where the rails here that hold the bike are aluminum to keep the weight down. It mounts to any vehicle that's got a 2-inch receiver on it, and I've tried it on a sedan, on an adventure van, on this pickup truck, and it all fits well. The rack does fold up, and on each of those vehicles, it cleared the vehicle. So in case you don't have the bikes on the car, you want to fold it up to get it into a tight parking space, or perhaps your garage. That's a handy feature. The only kind of vehicle you may have trouble with is a big SUV. Now this is a pickup truck, so you can see you've got space here, but if it were an SUV and it came straight up here, the bars might hit. Now the receiver hitch on this is back in a ways. So I've measured it. Your receiver hitch is 5 inches out from the edge of the vehicle and it'll clear it. Otherwise, probably gonna have that problem with any rack. The rack not only folds up when you don't have the bikes on them, but there's a pin release here and a lever, and that's how you move the rack. It will fold down. That way you can get behind it and maybe get into a trunk. To put it back in place, you just pull up and it locks right into place like that. There are a lot of e-bikes that have much wider tires than this, and as I mentioned earlier, this rack will accommodate up to 5-inch wide tires. These straps are pretty long, so they'll go around them. These tires are only about 2.5, but it's held in there pretty securely with these straps. So even on the front side, you've got this little angled piece in here so the tire fits in there nice and snug. The mounting strategy they use on this rack is a 3-point system. So you've got ratchets that will hold down each the front and the rear tire on both bikes. And then you've got 2 of these center rack systems that will hold the top of the bike with a clamp that'll go around just about any part of the vertical part of the bike. The higher you can get that, the more stable it will be. It keeps the bikes from hitting one another or hitting the vehicle. I typically will mount it to the frame itself rather than the seat post, because these are dropper seat posts and I don't want to hurt those. So it's got a nice wide clamp on it, so you can pretty much clamp it on anything. Now racks will always move if they're not secured to the vehicle tightly. And the way the CyberRack has addressed that, there's a bolt going through the receiver. You tighten down here. As long as you cinch that down really well, you got a nice solid connection and the rack won't move. You're also provided with a lock that snaps on to the other end of that pin that goes into the receiver, and a couple keys to unlock and lock that little dust cover there. The newest version of the CyberRack now comes with a folding ramp, so you can put that in your vehicle when you're storing it if you like, but that's used to help get heavier bikes onto the ramp. Okay, so we're going to take this rack for a test run. We're going to bring the bikes down in elevation because there's still snow here, so we can see how this rack performs. Okay, solid. Okay, we're here, and we took it on a pretty rough road getting in here, and I'll tell you, I am impressed. I haven't used one of these racks that has the straps in 3 locations like this, and it sure makes it solid. I knew it was going to be solid, but I didn't know it was going to be that solid. I think this is my new go-to rack for rough conditions like this. So we are going to go for a ride.